Alright, Battle Redux is out. Let's see how high we can get. My current best is 221 million. That's on auto. And I'm running this team. I've decided to give a lot of speed to Elif. And I lowered the speed of my supports, just to make sure that my Elif can get as many turns as possible to get 10 stacks of Lu Sheng. The only ones that I've given speed is Xuanpin, Haley, and Elif. I want Xuanpin to cast her S2 onto Elif so that she can get the 25% ignore defense. I'm gonna do one blitz just to see how well it does, and then I'm gonna do some manual battles. 225 million. Let's see if I can get any higher than that in manual play. So when it comes to this boss, nothing has been changed. It's still the higher HP you have, the more damage that you're gonna do. Feng Shun is gonna be doing a lot of damage. The free-to-play team is still gonna be the same. You're still gonna be running the 4-star. I can't remember her name. It's the 4-star Inferno that, you know, attacks outside of her turn. Whenever your allies gets a turn, she gets AP pushed back to 0. That one. And Feng Shun, those two are gonna be carrying the team hard. So yeah, nothing has changed. I'm just gonna try to see how high we can get with this new support, Lu Sheng. The previous one, I think the highest I've gotten was 161 million. So even on autoplay, this team is already scoring way higher than that team. Previously, I wasn't using Lu Sheng and not using R6 Sakura. And instead, I was using R6 Daji and Sachiko. But yeah, I'm just gonna fast forward it, see how high we can get. The only change that manual play is going to change is my S2 on Xuanpin is going to go to Elif, and I'm gonna be spamming the S1 on all of my Espers. Elif is doing 1.7 million with her S1 and 1.3 million with her S3. Alright, one last turn. I think I can break like 300 million with this team. Come on, let's see that 300 million. 230 million. Not that far off with the auto one. Let me try to run a free-to-play team. Alright, so here's a free-to-play team. Hopefully you don't hear like some rain sounds in the background. Let's see how this team does. Again, if you have like Feng Shun, it's just going to carry you. Okay, this one's only gonna get triple S. Only 14 million. Not the best. But let's see what happens if you add like a single Feng Shun, right? Just a single Feng Shun is going to give you 30 million. So yeah, Feng Shun is just going to carry you. And also Lu Sheng as well. If you just slot in Lu Sheng, there you go, 17 million. Again, you don't really need to score that much because you just have to get a total of 300 million score. So even if you get like 20 million by doing how much? 10, 15 runs, that should be enough for you to get 300 million. And it's not even that hard, right? If you have a Feng Shun, it's pretty much guaranteed to get 300 million by the end of the event. Now, as for the boxes, for the Rezo box, in my opinion, the best one is going to be Narmer or Ophelia. Between these two, the rest is pretty much useless at this point. Even Tricky at this point in PvP, you only use him for Guild Wars, and not even 100% of the time, right? Sometimes you don't even use him for Guild Wars because most teams just don't care about his mechanics anymore. You want him to be in the same team as Hilda, but Hilda has kind of fallen off in PvP, so he's kind of useless as well at this point. Hyde has been useless in PvP and in PvE. He was never good in PvE except for APAP in like 200 years ago, but now even in PvP he's absolutely garbage. Biondina used to be the unit for Dark Starlord Team 1, but now we have Momo that just does her job way better. She is also kind of shit at this point. Elliot also kind of shit. A lot of units just don't care about getting cooldown reduction up, and his whole shtick is just cooldown reduction up, right? Intisar also very bad. Even for Chronos, you don't really need her anymore. You have Chuyao for a better defense breaker, which also does Sear in one skill. And Intisar just does defense break and not a lot of damage as well. Ashley also fell off in every single aspect of the game. In PvE, she used to be good in APAP before difficulty 20 drop. She was usable in 16. She was usable in Andras, but now there's just way better options than her. Changji as well used to be good in PvP, but not anymore. For Namor though, you can still use him in APAP. Some people do use him in APAP, which is still a very fast turn count. It's at a 7 turn count, there we go. A Grogo with 7 turns with Namor. You can also use him in Andras for difficulty 20, which I am also using right now, which is this team. Let me just show you real quick. It's this team right here, Custom 19. It's very good. It's around 7 to 8 turns. And you can also use him in Fausto Fantasy Darkstalker, if you don't have any other options, it's pretty good. He still does about like 4 to 6 million by himself within the right team. So that's that for Narmer. He's still pretty decent. And then lastly for Ophelia, her buff made her very good for Andras. She is, again, I showed you just now, the same team with Narmer. It's around 7 to 8 turns. The reason why she's very good in Andras is because her S1 does a lot of damage. And her S1 combo with Feng Shun does like 100,000 damage. Because she does it 4 times, right? So that's 400,000 damage with her S1 alone. That's why she's very good in Andras. And she's also being used in Fafnir for some of the teams. She does a lot of damage, she has a lot of hit counts with her S3 plus S1. There we go. Rank 2 uses an R1 Ophelia. She's useful for Shadow Stream if you have her at R1, because then her S1 does a lot of damage. There we go. Rank 12 uses an R5 Ophelia. She's pretty decent right here. There's another one, R6 Ophelia, but you don't really need her to be at R6 because these extra resonance pass R1 is not really useful for her in PvE. So final decision, the best choice for you is going to be either Ophelia or Narmer, depending on what you want to focus more. Narmer for APAP, and then this one for Andras and also for Fafnir. I'm gonna go for Ophelia because I do want her to be at R6. She's pretty decent at R6 in some contents. And then as for the ripple boxes, again, it's the same between Narmer or Ophelia because the rest is kind of useless depending on which one you want to focus on. Ophelia's Demon is pretty crazy. At D3 you get a final damage of 30% with her S1 when the enemy's HP is below 100%, so it's pretty much guaranteed. And she casts her S1 like 4 times in a row, right? So that's a massive increase in multipliers. So yeah, I'm gonna go for D3 of Ophelia. I'm not gonna go for a D4. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save this box for when, if any of these units gets a buff. So yeah, that's about it. I'm going to stop at D3 with Ophelia. And yeah, that's about it. Ciao.